Alright, everybody. Brave faces, everyone. Welcome to episode 165 of Dissonant Waves. My name is Dominic, and this
My name
is.
Domino.
and this is the rest of your life. Trix and Gix are here.
Yep.
Oh,
You didn't even bother to correct me when I just didn't say your name.
nah, don't care. Hello,
We got a ton of shit to talk about.
I'm Gex.
Gex has chosen Luca Brasi's By a Thread and Brave Faces Everyone by Spanish Love Songs. Trix has chosen Making Mirrors by Gotye. Is that what we're calling it now? And I've chosen the earliest work by Origami Angel, including Light Hours EP, the Doing the Most EP, that time Origami Angel Broke Minecraft, and the random Christmas song that I found, Yuletide Carol.
Did I tell you guys I found a free jewel just in the road about a month ago?
No.
Why would you take that?
Because it's just the battery and I can always put new pods in it.
Were you the type of person to find a half-smoked cigarette on the highway and just go, "Oh, that could be finished"?
There's a difference between jewels because like you can replace the pods on jewels and just keep using it. The main thing there is the battery.
Yeah, I feel like it should not be socially acceptable to start smoking jewels you found on the floor.
I already vape, and so I figured I could save my money by just scoring a second battery for when I inevitably buy another jewel because I fucking loved my original jewel. Okay?
This feels wrong. Everything about this feels wrong.
Hey, it was abandoned. It was probably dropped by somebody underage already.
Abandoned. You're acting like you're taking care of a child here.
My nicotine addiction is my child, okay?
My
I
friends
believe
are my
that.
true
I
power.
don't. Oh.
Well, it seems like we're going to talk about Origami Angel first by the sounds of it.
I really don't
Well-
have much to say about them, I'll be honest.
I'll let you do the opening, Dominic. I was just going to say that wasn't really a relevant segue, but I don't think we had a segue into anything, so...
Yes, so Origami Angel, they started... From the interviews I read, they started in December 2016. They released their first EP, Quiet Hours, in 2017, technically predating the fifth wave of emo. They followed up with Doing the Most in 2018, that more established their usual sound. Along the way, the whole Chatterbot Records fiasco happened. And then by 2020, post the release of Somewhere City, they did a Minecraft concert thing that crashed the servers and got them really popular and a lot of attention, so they released it right away. And it's like a little live / remix little EP of stuff. And this is it. Outside the new single that just came out a couple weeks ago, we are caught up in Origami Angel for the first time.
All right.
So, I'll give my take first because I introduced Origami to the podcast. I think it's only fair. I've started this obsession that Dominic has. Obsession is obviously a strong word, but obviously Origami Angel's become one of your favorite artists over the past couple of years. Yeah, there's no shame in that. And going now and listening to this, I agree with Trix's statement that there isn't much to say, just because everything that actually really could be said about the first two EPs. The Minecraft one has actually got some interesting things that happen into there.
Yeah.
But about Quiet Hours and Doing the Most, which I keep thinking Ride Our Bikes to School is on Doing the Most, because that is, like, the Doing the Most album art is seemingly a kid riding their bike to school onto there. And, I mean, you obviously can see what Origami Angel was doing from the start. The sound has gone into their later albums and EPs and stuff like that. That mix of the math rock and having some a bit of the punk hardcore influence kind of in their breakdowns and stuff like that, but still primarily being a math rock emo pop punk band. That's the sound that's following these EPs. It's done better on other albums. I personally think it's done better on the Gen 3 EP as well, but that's obviously up for interpretation. I think when we come back to all of them in comparisons, though, it's the albums which are better. I mean, I'm excluding, I guess, Return and Depart there, which is kind of different in its own way. So
yeah,
onto that.
We got post Gami Gang and pre Gami Gang, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely what you would expect from an upcoming emo artist. I mean, they got all the cliches down packed. There's the shitty samples that happen, which are funny. Don't get me wrong. The using the American politician for the I believe these words came from the Pokemon movie quote.
Yeah, that works.
I can't remember exactly who it was who said it because
Kane.
I'm obviously
Fucking Rip Bozo died of COVID after saying the vaccine would never was useless.
Yeah, that's all I remember him for.
Yeah.
Obviously, I come from a different country, so I shouldn't have much to remember him for. Nor should I even have that, but I remember that for some reason.
He's also the rent is too damn high, guys.
That was him? I didn't realize that. I don't think so.
I'm now checking that before I can.
Because let's look this up. Because I'm pretty sure he was a single issue guy.
Yeah,
Jimmy McMillan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jimmy McMillan.
Yeah, like
okay.
But
around the same
McMillan
era. So I just got him confused.
But
Yes.
McMillan has apparently endorsed, apparently in 2016 or 2015, 2016, he did endorse Donald Trump, and he was a Republican. So I can kind of see where the
Yeah, I could see that too.
where the confusion comes from. That's me saving your ass there, Dominic.
Otherwise, Dominic just got his black politicians mixed up. I couldn't think of the word.
Black conspiratorial.
Trying to say both of your asses today right now. Anyway,
niche,
let's get out of this
early
before.
2010s politician, yes.
We're getting out of this.
I want to know what his
Dominic.
facial hair looks like. Now that we're talking about this now, I want to find his facial hair.
That is true. That is actually true. I'm curious on that as well.
The fun things to kind of point out here, their very first singles were Hey There and Mark My Words. They were released about 10 days before the EP was. That's kind of nice, kind of seeing where it really begins for them, whether those were recorded first or not, I don't know, but that's what they decided to give the first taste of. And they're fine songs, and they're whatever. Track 7, Notice, is important from Quiet Hours, only because it was the first Ryland produced track, and I think it kind of shows, considering it's mixed differently than everything else. It sounds like a demo. So just one of those things like, hey, they're learning, but we're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, I would say Quiet Hours kind of just is a pretty consistent one note of, like, that relaxed, slowcore emo sound, just acoustic and just kind of, like, not too, like, energetic or hyper at all, but also not that far away from, like, what we know them to be. I feel like Doing the Most is where they really started to get into that Origami Angel sound a lot more recognizably.
Yeah, but Gen 3 now that I'm going to add that into the comparisons, because that's the...
I mean, yeah, Gen 3
one
is...
I think you can... There's so much difference in just the... I guess consistency of just quality in the whole project. I mean, it's a lot more concise in Gen 3 than it feels like it is in certain EPs.
Yeah, Gen 3 is like a preview of, like, oh, this is what their albums are going to sound like. This stuff is more of, hey, this is what they were doing in the year or two beforehand. And for releasing 2 EPs and then Gen 3 and then Somewhere City in 2 years is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And the split as well.
Oh, and yeah, Holy Split, of course.
Also, in case you guys are wondering, I've been searching fervently for a modern photo of Jimmy McMillan, but he retired in 2015, and so that photo, you cannot find photos of him anymore because he's a recluse, it seems.
Interesting.
But God, that was a very phallic beard. Just looked like 2 balls, and the soul patch just a micropeen.
Yeah. In a sense, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, Origami Angel Broke Minecraft being like a remix album with a lot of like Pokemon, just direct. They took the song, either remixed it or just used it. That stuff is really interesting and fun. I'm glad they have some kind of live album at all, because that's like the one thing they're really missing at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes from that really weird time at the start of, well, supposed lockdowns. It was really just kill the arts. And we had those Minecraft concerts, and and shit, and it happened for a little bit.
They weren't a new concept, though.
No, I know they weren't a new concept, but we had it definitely was a larger interest in them because you couldn't really go out and see live music.
Yeah, I want to say the first Minecraft, putting on my Minecraft historian hat because I've been playing since fucking 2011. God, Jesus Christ. Anyways, yeah, the first one I believe was a Deadmau5 concert in 2010.
I would believe it. But I mean, it was more, that was more when those things were really starting to take off because that was like post Rise of Skywalker being in Fortnite.
Yeah.
So it was just accepted that these games would be an alternative means of like communicating with like artists and whatnot, supposedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just Minecraft that
Second Life is the big one.
Well, yeah.
But wasn't it Travis Scott did the Fortnite one?
Yeah, Travis Scott did the Fortnite one, but I believe there have been Second Life concerts since like 2004.
Yeah.
That must be fucking wild to look back on like the early days of that.
Yeah, and there's even like impersonators that would like rip a live set online and then just do it anyways, but like not endorsed by the artist in any way.
I mean, you'd think that's a problem, but if you're playing Second Life, you're probably got another issue anyway.
Yeah. Who the hell is playing Second Life in 2024?
Yeah.
People that played it in 2007.
People have still been playing it since 2007. Oh, God.
I'm still playing Borderlands 2, and I've been playing that since release, pretty much.
But going back into the previous thing, this was a big wave of like, okay, well, let's get a bunch of these artists on here because it's a good attempt to doing it, and they could have easily just like basically just streamed their songs and then said this is the live show, or even just like the fact that it's kind of played with this Minecraft sound is just really fucking funny, honestly.
Yeah, there's samples of the Minecraft music too.
Yeah, and then they like I have like the biggest sample I think they've ever used, the ADMVP thing. That was pretty long comparatively to what they usually do. But I think it's fun to have this, in that it kind of encapsulates everything they've been doing up to this point. They have stuff from Doing the Most, they have stuff from Gen 3 and Somewhere City, and then the last song is Greenbelt Station from Gami Gang.
Yeah, it's the first ever release of Greenbelt Station. It would end up being released with Neutrogena Spectre as well, from memory. Because they would release for Gami Gang, since I guess it was kind of a double album, they decided that the singles release would be 2 songs on the album each time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy, honestly, that the first song that got released from Gami Gang was Greenbelt Station, and it was released on the Minecraft EP. That itself is just an iceberg enough moment from Origami Angel. But the fact that it kind of actually fits to do that as well is just also kind of funny, because you weren't going to play Neutrogena Spectre at the Minecraft one. It just did not fit the vibe of what was going on.
No.
You weren't going to play. No. You weren't going to play something like Judge on there as well. You couldn't go that heavy. You had to go softer. I mean, yeah, I guess there maybe were some other softer songs they could have picked from Gami Gang, but were they as short as Greenbelt Station?
I mean, it's interesting to think about where they were at this point, right? Because we know that they were working on Gami Gang the same time as Somewhere City, and then they focused on that. We know that they were writing The Brightest Days around when this was being recorded and put out. So it's like, is Judge and is everything else like ready to go at this point, or is that all just conceptual, just like thoughts and songs put down that will get recorded later, kind of like Brightest Days was? Like, there's so much just banked stuff they have. It makes sense that Greenbelt Station would pop up here, but it's like a little souvenir of the past. Like, yeah, not 2 years, but like at least a year before, here it was.
This is kind of unrelated, but I would like to give a shout out to the album art for Origami Angel Broke Minecraft for hitting me in a type of like 2014 nostalgia that I both love and hate as someone who like obsessively played Minecraft then, with like the swag Herobrine skin, like fucking Jesus.
Yeah, is that not the fucking I swear that's supposed to be like the scumbag Steve hat.
Yeah,
that is the scumbag Steve hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's just in front of a McDonald's.
The old school McDonald's, which we need to return, spelled with a V with.
It's a hell of a. That's something you've just made as an album art. It doesn't quite go hard, but it's definitely got some ironic enjoyment, and it seems like it's self-aware.
I mean, I think it's emblematic again of just that era of like the early COVID lockdown stuff.
Just got a shitpost.
You gotta put something on this. We want to put this out right now, so give us some image. Just give us something. I would love to know like how they break down like getting away with putting this on streaming and everything.
Maybe they just never got caught.
Yeah, I know it's kind of like a don't ask, don't tell kind of situation, but like they're just Pokemon sounds. It's just the soundtrack sometimes.
Yeah,
it's impressive that it's here at all.
Yeah, this is something that this is like one of those you should just buy now, just on principle, because it might not be there in the future.
Granted, this is 4 years later, but yes.
Yeah, but like it could happen at any time.
And that's really it.
Yeah.
Did anyone listen to the Yuletide Carol song?
No, I forgot to because I've had a busy week. Apologies.
I listened to it like right before we started recording. It's something. It sounds like there was another song I had pegged it for that it just sounds like they took the riff for and made it Christmas themed.
I would believe that. I can think of a couple different songs that could potentially rhyme me, whether it's "Hey There" or something from Gen 3. Like this, from what I understand, is from a long forgotten Chatterbot compilation that seems to have disappeared when the company kind of went away. So this was a repost by somebody else even online, so it's just kind of floating there in the ether to find it if it's there. I also think it's perhaps their worst song. But we're being
that's an insult.
I think Yuletide Carol is their worst song. The song that's not even really meant to be heard anymore.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of that Mike Kroll track I threw on the Kroll cleanup. If I think I did with like the "Won't Be Alone Tonight" or whatever the hell.
Okay, interesting. I guess I can kind of see that.
Just in the kind of existing as it is, like it was only on a holiday compilation, but the Mike Kroll one is on streaming, but like you have to like search for it.
Right. Yeah, this one is not on streaming or anything. It's just I just found it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And like that's Origami Angel. That's them done and dusted, except for whatever comes next.
Mm-hmm.
How we feeling about it?
About Origami?
Yeah.
I brought them onto this podcast. I like Origami Angel. I mean, yeah, I didn't expect their earlier stuff to absolutely blow me out of the water, since I've kind of already heard it once and preferred. I guess there's that era of Somewhere City, Origami Gang, which is currently like the best output. With I guess the D-Part EP for me also included. Brightest Days wasn't so hot on outside of a couple tracks, so we'll see how it goes on the next one. I've listened to Fruit Wine. I liked it, but I'm not in love with it.
Sure.
Ooh, yeah.
I have not listened to Fruit Wine.
I listened to it. It's fine. I don't remember it really.
Bodes well for it.
I think Origami Angel is a good band in the fifth wave emo scene. I don't think they're the best. I don't think they're the most creative. But I think when it comes to what the sound is, it's kind of brought on for the fourth wave. They're very tight, and you can still enjoy them. But they are. I think their worst quality that you might get is that they might just be releasing the same thing a lot now. So you might still be listening to a lot of the same thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of shared riffs and DNA between tracks.
There's a definitive Origami Angel feel. Like every song has like its own it's the same structure. I can respect that, but like it does kind of outweigh its welcome. I'd stay.
I guess I'm not exactly tired of it. I just kind of like seeing how it evolved over time. Now that I like understand it and now I can appreciate it, like I kind of hope they haven't peaked already. I feel like Somewhere City and Gami Gang are just so good. that's hard to like really reclaim that. But I think they can do it.
Gami Gang is still phenomenal. I played that today in the kitchen. I don't know if it's kitchen music, but it was good like prep music, like just like cutting 50 pounds of tomatoes. You know, the normal shit.
Like I wonder when, like what they were gonna try to do is like a proper follow up to Gama Gang now that they've had some distance.
Yeah.
What are we moving on to?
I mean, favorites, least favorites.
Oh yeah, that's right. We should do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the favorites are honestly probably the just the Minecraft EP because it's everything else just the way I guess that we're doing this week. It's just kind of a bit more refreshing to hear it in honestly not its best format. It's still probably better in the EP format, but because it's a different enough way, it's interesting in the context of this week. But actually, realistically, out of all of this, the best song is Green Dog Station.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun.
I do.
Go ahead, Trix.
I was gonna say I do want to give a shout out to the Minecraft sample, and I believe it was KD MVP.
Yeah.
Could have also been High Dive. Ruby Olympic High Dive. I don't exactly remember.
It was Katie. If they were talking about the soundtrack of Minecraft itself.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Which I need to cover. That has been on my list for literally years. We need to cover Minecraft Alpha soundtrack.
I think Broke Minecraft is the best of the bunch. It has the best songs. It has really interesting remixes. I think 24-Hour Delivery is a really cool version. Like, you know, even the stuff they took from earlier stuff, like Rom-Com Hacky Sack and With You and all that stuff is fun too. Like, it's just nice that we were able to see them through the journey so far.
Yeah.
The stuff is fine. Nothing the most amazing, but hey, it's fun that it's there, and it's fun that we can see the progression from doing just that quieter slowcore stuff to doing a little bit more of the energetic stuff to like really exploding out with Gen 3 and Somewhere City. I really really love this band as always, and I'm glad that we can like just rest and wait for whatever's next and not have to worry about covering other background stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so
what is next?
Let's talk about something that'll leave you hanging by a thread.
That was the shittiest joke you could have made today, Dominic. Somehow we'll get worse. Alright, Luca Brasi by a thread. Luca Brasi, we covered them twice before in this podcast. If I didn't properly introduce them then, I'm not properly introducing them now. Tasmanian punk rockers. Yeah, this is their second album from 2014. This is definitely probably the most punky of all the albums that we've covered. That's about the introduction.
And my opinion of them really has not changed.
And I still don't care.
Like, they're fine.
I didn't pick this because I wanted to change your opinion. I picked this because I just wanted to listen to it for the week.
Yeah.
Like, there are some interesting songs. I think Death Rattle has some interesting like lyrics, like lyrical themes in it. Here's Looking at You, Kid Rock is at least a funny title.
I like the riffs and Benthos and the chorus and that. Borders and State Lines I grew up with.
Borders and State Lines is nice. I mean, I guess if you want to talk through the three that we've listened to because you know them the best.
Yeah, I mean, I picked an album. Honestly, the other one that I picked this week is the one that's a bit more what I wanted to focus on. But it's a point of I was seeing this to its rise. It's kind of a bit of shit. It's just easier to pick one. Honestly, if I was going to pick one that's a bit more relevant, I would have picked Everything is Tenuous. But I think that one's just I'll save that for a better time, just because that one goes through a little bit more. I mean, I can kind of compare it in this way. I feel like in this one, it's a bit of that, and it's not enough to truly judge on what Tyler Richardson was feeling at the time of when By a Thread was released, because I can assume emotions are still genuine. But when you hear a lot of lyrics on this, which is just kind of like the whole like it's hard to get by kind of stuff on it, it feels a lot more I guess descriptive and genuine on the later album, which we'll get to at some point. And that's the problem on this, is that it is still a bit like yeah, it's just kind of cheesy, I guess. And sometimes I like some cheese and
Cheese
whatnot.
isn't
And I
bad.
think this album, I think, is held up by its instrumentation more than it is by its lyrical content.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, like, it all sounds like really solid, just emo music. Like, it's just the journeymen doing their journeying and doing the work, and it sounds nice. It just, for whatever reason, just never sticks with me that much.
Luca Brasi feels to me like an in-universe indie movie band where like they're supposed to be good, but like every time you listen to them in the movie, they never make an impact.
I can
And
see
it's like,
that.
why would you want to listen to the album outside of that?
I agree with everything you said, but except for everything you said.
I guess I feel like sometimes what Trix must feel like when we do Radiohead and stuff, where it's like, it's fine. I don't know. I feel like I'm not meant to listen to it, but
I
I'm
don't
here.
know. In a sense, I think when it comes to obviously the other stuff that we talked about, I still think if this is all we're going to be is the best album, and I know you two aren't so hot on it, I don't give a fuck. That being said, I think that's one where it's a lot more interesting to hear all the different not the different instrumentation, I guess, but the different structures that they're going for song wise. I think even though it is just a breakup album, I think it is a bit more lyrically dense than everything else. And at least with everything, you get some kind of emotion and vision that's happening with every song.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not that's just a crappy movie as the car windows raining outside kind of vibe and stuff like that, and you still get some vision from it.
I mean, yeah, they're
by
selling
you,
their vision.
I mean me, yeah. And no, there isn't really that on By Afraid. You are just getting. I mean, I wouldn't even really call it emo. I'd call it just Aussie punk. I think, yeah, you could call if this is all we're gonna be, and even the world don't owe you anything. Definitely have a bit more of an emo tinge to it, which just naturally happens when you get a bit more, a bit more poppy away from the punk. Is that when you get to the pop punk, and that's associated with emo and blah 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 blah.
It's all a big soup.
If I was
And
Australian, I would love this band.
and I am Australian. I do love this band.
I think of the three that we listened to, I think The World Don't Owe You Anything was the one I liked the most.
I mean, it is probably the most mature album.
I don't remember The World Don't Owe You Anything, I'll be honest.
I don't remember that much about it either. I just remember little bits and pieces, and it's like, oh yeah, I think I liked that one.
Like, Luca Brasi to me is just like a footnote of like, yeah, we covered this, Ritz likes it. And that's all I have in like my mental journal of this band. Like, I have no riffs, no songs. Like, they exist to me. I don't mean anything against them, but like they're just okay to me.
I mean, there's literally nothing you can mean against this band. They're probably some of the nicest people in music.
Mm-hmm.
I would still listen to more if it's wanted to pick more. I would still try my best to get into them, but like with Shaky Graves, it's just kind of there.
Like I said, I wasn't expecting this to be a change your opinion on Luca Brasi. It was more just a pick it because I guess we were associating things, and I didn't really want to pick the album that was a lot more about death. It was not really the one I wanted to go on. Yeah, so I mean, it does branch, I guess, as well. The last kind of sound change, I guess, we can have of Luca Brasi's career as well, because their album before this, I don't remember what it's called, Extended Family, has a very similar sound. I'd say it's probably a little bit more punkier, but it's kind of similar. And then, I mean, Stay, and if this is all we're going to be, is very similar, and then Everything Continuous and The World Don't Owe You Anything are both pretty similar as well. So I'd say they kind of go like every two albums has very similar vibes, and then it kind of actually evolves. Yeah,
so that means whatever's next is going to be an evolution.
Yeah,
you would hope would hope so. I'm assuming there is a next album
eventually.
We talked we talked about the context that was happening with The World Don't Owe You Anything.
Yeah,
I remember that now.
honestly a surprise. We got the Spanish Love Songs tour with Luca Brasi headlining, because that was like everywhere in Australia. That was a full like 2.5 weeks away from home.
Yeah.
Not an easy thing to do in that kind of situation.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I appreciate the B-sides EP being called Loose Threads.
That's cute.
Yep, that is a good shit pun. Yeah. I don't actually have anything else to say about this album. I just wanted to listen to it this week.
That's fair.
I like
It's a bit of a
Banfoss, I
blender
like
for me.
Borders and Stuff. I like Banfoss, I like Borders and State Lines. Least favorites, probably something like Waves or Two Snakes. It doesn't end that strong.
I guess I'll give it to something like Death Rattle, but it's kind of a cheese sandwich blender somewhere in that realm for me.
This is a true blender for me.
Alright, shall we get on to the album I did pick for Good Boy points?
Yeah.
Brave faces, everyone.
Yeah, so the other album that I picked was the band that was the opening for the Luca Brasi tour. It was Spanish Love Songs, which means that over the course of, I want to say 9 months, I've seen Spanish Love Songs 3 times.
And I've seen them once.
That's cool.
Yeah, and Trix has seen them 0 times, so I'm absolutely carrying the count.
Trix, you gotta
Yeah,
go
you
see
have.
them.
They haven't really been playing. Yeah, when they play around me, I will.
That way we can see.
Not many bands come to
these
Ithaca,
bands.
So yeah, I mean, I kind of discovered the Spanish Love Songs last year. Everyone else kind of discovered them in 2020 when Brave Faces Everyone got released, which for a lot of people was their lockdown album.
Yeah.
It hit a lot of emotions that people had during that time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just one of these like, oh, we're scared of death, but it talks a lot about just cost of living crises and just trying to get by. Talks about meeting up with friends who have gone back into drugs, and yeah, and obviously it does talk about mental health as well.
Mm-hmm.
Of note, that's important. It is a pre-COVID 2020 album.
Yep.
Yep.
First single from it was 2019 Losers, and then yes, it came out. Was it January or February?
February.
Yeah. I believe Self Destruction as a music video was later in the year, and that because I believe that one was a COVID music video.
Sure.
But let me see if I'm wrong. Because I also keep thinking that Fiddlers by Myself was one, but that was 2019. And yeah, this is the second time that we have done Spanish Love Songs, and the first time that we've done it whilst I've been here.
I always will remember the fact that I first heard of them because they were touring with Kalimasi. And I'm like, oh,
Makes sense.
I'll listen to them later on. And then here we are, and it's like, oh, they're also better than Kalimasi.
So Self Destruction came out as a music video 27th of October 2020.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In which they just got a bunch of people to eat cake and shit on video and then put it up.
The cake
Hell
shit on
yeah.
video?
No, just eating the cake, not doing a shit.
I think we found our first Patreon video though of all of us eating cake and shitting.
That's the premium.
As I said, our first Patreon
That's our
video.
$20 tier.
Yes.
You really have to fork it out if you want to see that.
And for $30, we will you can play on a Minecraft realm with us.
Anyway.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing actually, because I think for me, Luca Brasi actually ends up being a really nice blender, where I think Brave Faces is more of like a really good example of a cheese sandwich, and that I like it. I think there's some really great songs. I think the sound is fantastic. It just does not hit like No Joy does. And so
I just want to quickly say, whilst here, that after Spanish Love Songs and Luca Brasi finished, someone went to me upwards and was like trying to just talk about how much I love Spanish Love Songs, but then complained about No Joy a bit, and it's like, oh, it's because the keyboardist kissed the guitar, and it's his wife, and she's obviously made the sound. And I'm just going to say that even if that bullshit is true, because like she's on this album as well, so it's obviously not true, of her suddenly taking all creative control just because she's in a relationship with the lead singer. Yeah, I agree. No Joy is the better album.
Yeah.
This walks.
So that's a
No
fuck
Joy
you to
for
that
fun.
guy who was just so. Yeah, it's a big fuck you to the guy who's randomly just sexist out of nowhere at the end. Now, I don't think that's really what the band you're listening to is wanting. That being said, I love Brave Faces Everywhere. I think when it hits a guilty pleasure spot in your brain just because lyrically it's quite relatable.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot of moments that you just go, yeah, okay, I kind of do want to scream that out. But when it comes to what is actually a more impressive sounding and unique album, that's No Joy.
Mhm.
I mean, I think
They're both your children you can love.
I think Routine Pain is a wonderful opener. It has that relatability right off the bat. It has a really nice opening line. On any given day, I'm a 6 of 10. It just defines, I think, someone that could be in anybody's life. And it's like, I sent this to the person that it reminds me of. And I'm like, I hope you enjoy this.
Mhm.
And I think there are other songs like Kick and Generation Lost that also, give you something to think about as well. Beachfront Property. And I think Brave Faces Everyone's a wonderful closer. But listening to it, the highest highs aren't there and the lowest lows aren't there, and so it ends up just being like good noise.
I disagree about the high highs not being there, just because I think there are a bunch of just great lyrical moments on those albums, which on the album, which are a bit like, I wouldn't say jaw dropping in a sense, because I think that's going a bit too far. But they do definitely catch that bit of interest, like in Kick, where it's the I'll get the full lyric up actually, just so I don't completely fuck it. Excuse me for 2 seconds as I'm trying to goddamn think. Is it? Yeah, it's you're moving H with a guy to catch up, but it's clear you're using.
Yeah, that definitely stands out. And what's the line after that? What's another 10,000?
I didn't have the guts to be a better friend, but what's another 10 grand gonna fix in the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, felt.
Which is that's one of those moments where I feel like, okay, that's a high just because it's a straight up it's just a straight up, all right, goddamn, what can you do in that moment?
Yeah, I can't argue with you on that. That's fair.
Losers 2 as well, where it talks about losing the house in 08, which is like kind of one of the first times that you actually think like, oh shit, these are people who grew up as kids now in the global financial crisis, which I guess is me as well. But
Yeah.
I wasn't so impacted as other people. But now you're hearing about people who were impacted so heavily during that
Mhm.
and stuff as well. Was one of those like, yeah, shit. And I mean, there is enough moments on this as well, which I think is just okay. I mean, I'll be the one to say this, Dylan. Please get a thesaurus out. You don't have to say bleak as much times as you do.
He really meant to say Bleak 182, but there wasn't enough syllables.
I whilst you two put on some other takes, I'm gonna now count the amount of times the word bleak is said in this album.
I think
Losers is a mood. I've felt that many times in my life.
Sure.
All of the like, oh, it's gonna get worse.
I live my life by betting that it's going to get worse or get better. Hopefully better, but probably going to get worse.
Yep. He does say bleak a lot in Losers. Holy shit.
He says it 16 times in Self-Destruction. So that's the first one. I mean, granted, it's a chorus.
Yeah.
I do like the comedy.
It's also said a couple times in No Joy, but it's said 7 times in Losers. This is just searching it up.
I do like the comedy that is Losers, and then a song called Optimism, and then Losers 2.
Yeah.
And it's said 1 time in Brave Faces Everyone. There's 24 uses of the word bleak.
That's an average of 2.4 per song.
It's pretty bleak, but not bleak enough, I would say.
Yeah, but it's a couple times it's said in No Joy as well, and this is just going off Genius, so I don't know exactly how accurate that is. But you might think that's actually pretty little, but you notice it.
I mean, I'm sure if you were listening like that, yeah, you would notice.
Because it's usually the key word in the chorus, and you notice those things when you listen to a bunch of these songs and next to each other. That's how an album works.
Yeah, that's like they're related and thematically tied, and that's what an album should be.
I mean, there is a lot of, I say repetition, but I don't mean repetition in it's just the same song over and over. There's a lot of repetition, yes, in its themes and stuff like that, which is good. That's not a complaint. It's just a noticing that somehow this album does kind of circle back on itself.
I mean, it's got the wonderful thing in that Dylan.
I think it's. I'm just trying to think of which one says it. I think it is Kick that uses the line "brave face" as well.
I believe it does, yes.
Yeah.
But it's the wonderful thing that Spanish Love Song is a band where Dylan is a very notable singer. You can recognize his voice because it sounds very crisp and clear, but also sometimes like he's about to burst out crying. Never can.
Never can.
And I think there's a really nice power to it that is especially effective in No Joy, but it definitely works here as well. And I think, even in a lesser Spanish love song, what Dylan does usually carries it. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, I know everything Dolores has in it. I know all the lyrics to Dolores. I don't. But
actually, Dolores is the song I forget the most.
Yeah. But I mean, it has Dylan's vocals, so it's going to be good. That's kind of where I sit with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest album of all time, but I having needed this album, I guess, over the past week and a bit, I can see why everybody else needed this during COVID.
Yeah,
I liked it last year when I discovered it as well. It's not like I was a hater of this album that's been converted. No, I liked it, and in fact, I'm pretty sure I think they played every song but Dolores when I saw them in Newcastle last year.
Hell yeah.
So maybe they don't even like Dolores. I don't know. That's probably an exaggeration, but yeah, that's it. I got nothing else to say. I like this album. It's a good. I mean, guilty pleasure isn't really the right word to use because I don't think there's anything guilty about listening to this album. It just feels it because it is definitely a lot more poppy or if it's very clean.
Yeah,
when it comes to emo, but it is.
I think
it's a good album.
I think it's important if you want to talk about what was 2020 like before COVID took over. What were we thinking? What were we doing? What was the world like? This is a great example.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is what people
really not much has changed.
This is what songs were like. No, not much has changed, but this album would probably reference the pandemic if it existed during the time it was being made.
Yeah.
100%.
So the fact that it doesn't is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. And I think that's probably another reason why people probably drifted towards it during the pandemic because, you didn't really want something. I mean, I was tired of the amount of fucking people going I made a song during COVID, and it would be like, oh, how bad is COVID? How bad is COVID? It's like, shut the fuck up, cunt.
It's also a really nice juxtaposition to the other big album that released on February 7th, 2020. Trix, can you guess which album that is?
Fuck, I'm trying to think.
You said one of the words.
Fuck?
That's a hint.
Okay, I don't know.
Father of all motherfuckers.
Oh, Father. Oh, yeah, you're fucking right. Holy shit.
I was so
this
glad
is a better album than Father of All Motherfuckers.
Oh, yes.
I feel offended even comparing it.
But they both came out the same day?
February 7th was a hell of a day.
Yeah.
I can't believe in 2020 on February 7th. I don't think I listened to it on that day, but I can't believe during that year I listened to Father of All Motherfuckers and I didn't listen to Brave Faces Everyone. Oh god. Oh,
yeah. I feel
It's not just because I have dirt on my eye, it's actually fucking me right now.
You could probably listen to Father of All about twice in the time it'll take you to listen to Brave Faces Everyone.
Or
Yeah.
you could not listen to Father of All, and it won't matter if you listen to Brave Faces.
I mean, you
in the minisodes, we said that getting hit with a brick in the head 3 times in a row was better than listening to Father of All Motherfuckers.
yeah, that's still correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Pre-COVID 2020 is a really weird time that it's probably going to be forgotten because COVID took over so quickly. But for the people that want to remember and want to do some research into what it was like, here you are. Really nice album from that time.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say about it at this point.
It's a fine album. It's probably my second favorite of the week.
Probably not wrong. I like Routine Pain a lot. I think Brave Faces Everyone's a good closer. Kick, Beachwood Property has some good stuff, but it's also kind of a cheese sandwich for me. And then I just like the sounds. I just like listening to it.
Favorite to me, honestly, like, in a sense, cheese sandwich is a good term, but I do actually remember basically everything from this. And I think this is actually an incredibly consistent record from start to finish.
Yeah.
And that being said, I'm not doing the whole count every song as my favorite bullshit because there's a couple I wouldn't put up in there. But Routine Pain, Self-Destruction, Kick, Losers 2, Brave Faces Everyone are my favorites. Least favorite is Dolores.
Yeah, least favorite's Dolores.
Yeah. Least favorite Dolores, favorite Losers 2, and Brave Faces Everyone.
How does it
And I
work
want to
as
say,
kitchen
when
music?
it comes to those,
It
I just want
doesn't
wanna
work
quickly
great.
say-
Like, it was all right for prep, but like when we were in a rush, I did not enjoy listening to this at all. I need BPM, I need anger when we're in a rush.
there was
And there's anger
one
here.
one high of the album we didn't mention as well, and that's the middle moment of Self-Destruction. I have definitely had that moment of I'll die here in the Midwest stuck in my head for like the past year.
I had feelings that I'd die in the Midwest at some point too.
The cougar was out to get you.
Yes. John Cougar concentration camp.
Anyway, let's move on to the last album. Gotye's Making Mirrors, an album that's been on my list to pick since 2019. Because this was a huge album for me in high school.
Yes.
Trix, you can do an
And
actual
I picked
introduction.
it. I picked this album purely because it's like, fuck, I want to listen to more Gotye or Gotye. I just wanted to listen to more Gotye, and that's why I picked it.
Hold on. I just want to point out something that I don't think any of us have actually pointed out today. I introduced every single fucking artist we've covered today to this podcast.
You have.
Congratulations. I think this is this the first time this has happened?
Well, no, I mean, technically with King Gizzard and Rush, but in the sense of this, I think it's one of the few times.
You just have infected us with your taste. What can I say?
Yeah.
This is why I'm based.
And I also wanted to pick the last Gotye we could pick in the US without needing help from Ritz. So that if we want to cover more Gotye, it's on Ritz because he's got to supply the files.
Well, Making Mirrors is the last Gotye album.
Well, wasn't there the introductory EP that got extended into an album?
I mean, we have not listened to
Last
Boardface.
official albums.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Boardface.
Yeah, that's his debut.
It's not streaming. It's not on streaming in the States.
So you meant? I thought you meant his last album chronologically.
No, his first one, the one that we haven't covered.
Okay. No, so there's Boardface. There's Mixed Blood, which is the remix album for Like Drawing Blood, which also has covers on it, including Carnival doing a cover of The Only Way, which I always found interesting. And then there's The Basics, which is Rolly DeBacca's band, which he still performs with. They put out music after Making Mirrors. It's just that everybody who says Gotye just dipped without doing anything, it's like, just use fucking Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really bugs me when people...
It's not that hard. It's very obviously out there.
There was a song released this year by him that was a remix.
Yeah, of somebody that I used to know again.
Yes.
Because I don't even hate that song, but I'm tired of the fact that so many people will only know him for that song. When he's one of the
agree.
most creative musicians to exist of the last ever.
It's a great song. There's also a number of other great songs on this album.
Yes. That being said, I would like to say I think Somebody That I Used to Know is a fucking masterpiece.
I mean, yes.
It's not even my favorite on this album, to be honest.
It's not my favorite on the album, but it's like it is a perfect song in my opinion.
Is it probably one of the best songs to ever get as big as it did? Well, when you have to compare it to other songs that have gotten as big as it did, yes.
I think this is a really wonderful situation where I think he's Christian, isn't he? Or something like that.
I never actually cared to check that.
I thought he was religious. It seemed like a situation where somebody who was like religious got it right and figured out a way to make really positive, like not even worship music, but like really positive messaging, positive just sounds on an album.
Mm-hmm.
This is the greatest line I've seen here. And Gotye appears to be non-religious despite writing a Christian pop song.
Maybe I'm thinking of Kimbra. Is Kimbra being religious? That might be it.
Kimbra might be.
Yeah.
I'd expect that more, but I assume he would just never give a shit.
I'm more talking about it because
at least not publicly.
I'm more talking about it because I thought some of the songs on here were kind of about that, like Eyes Wide Open, or In Your Light, especially In Your Light.
I see conflicting stuff here with did you grow up with religion? Not at all, but then someone says that Kimbra did grow up. I don't think it matters.
It doesn't.
In the end, you can still write music based off religion without being religious.
Sure.
I'm a very non-religious man myself, but you can't say that religious imagery still can't be interesting. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes religious imagery is pretty, and some of the texts are some moments that you don't ever want to fucking talk about.
I'm more talking about that it's very hard to write.
People have been inspired.
It can be very hard to write positive, upbeat music, especially in the kind of context that Gotye kind of travels in, and like the really like pop indie scene, because it's really because people can really sniff out like fakery and just like artificialness from like 10 feet away, right? So doing something that sounds as good as this album does and has genuinely positive vibes, I think is an achievement.
Yeah.
I still stand by though that like Drawing Blood uses magnum opus.
I agree.
I think I like this one more.
I think you're wrong.
And that's fine. There are just so many good songs that, like, no wonder I fucking love this album in high school. This shit is a banger.
Yeah. This is a good album, and probably the most positive thing about it is that I'm not saying like, oh, the songs on like Drawing Blood are the songs but Making Mirrors better. No, they're completely different albums, which is great in its own way. And so it's just me saying I like Drawing Blood better. Yeah. I can't insult Making Mirrors. There is a lot of interesting moments that happen on Making Mirrors as well. It was just some more experimentation in pop, which is just a fucking. It's devastating that Somebody That I Used to Know was the only song off this album that got as big as it did, because so much else on this album should have also gotten that level of success.
Yes.
Fucking Eyes Wide Open is incredible.
Yeah.
Eyes Wide Open is my favorite song off the album.
Yeah, it's always been my favorite album of it. Favorite song off the album, sorry.
I was like, Easy Way Out is a wonderful like opener.
Yeah.
I Feel Better is just fantastic. Just the horns and just his vocals are just so strong across everything. And then if you like the more electronic stuff, State of the Art is also just a fucking
that was the one I was going to go on about, which has more of that kind of like experimentation happening vocally there for a pop song. It's where this truly becomes a more art poppy album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like even the slower songs I think are great. Like Don't Worry We'll Be Watching You and Bronte, I think kind of going that direction at the end of the album kind of leads some of the songs to not stand out as much. Like, even though there's still plenty to like, but I think those songs are just a really nice counterpoint to everything else that has been happening at this point. Like, being able to do really strong, positive, and bright songs and really kind of demure and quieter songs within the span of an album is quite a feat. And having them both be good in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
The lesson is that Gotye is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew that, and I think this just proves it. Like, I think this album is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
it is.
It's weird that it's a case of, like, I mean, so many people would have just, like, disregarded Gotye because they only would have heard the one song, and, you know, somebody that I used to know was overplayed. It was absolutely blasted everywhere, and for once, it's not just radio's fault. It was a genuine case of Gotye had absolutely destroyed the algorithm before the algorithm was really a thing.
100%.
You couldn't go anywhere on a meme page without somebody doing a funny cover of somebody that I used to know. Off the top of my head, I can remember there was the people who did 5 people and 1 guitar playing the song. There was the Muppet version of it as well. I swear you could probably find a Minecraft version if you looked 5 seconds on Google.
Give me 30 seconds.
It was huge, and you never heard anything because Gotye didn't put out in the single was out, the album was out. Gotye didn't follow up with this. He didn't feel like doing it, so we never got that follow up. And has the hype probably died? Well, no, is actually the crazy part, because everybody's still talking about that song.
Yeah,
it's been 13 years.
I mean, the fun thing is that Like Drawing Blood never came out in the US until after this album did.
Yeah.
And
I will say I have gotten more people to listen to Gotye after I've been like, "Hey, have you heard this? This is somebody I used to know guy. This is his first the album that came out before this. It's phenomenal."
Yeah.
But as someone who was like into movies at the time, the Great Gatsby fucking movie, like Baz Luhrmann had Gotye all over the soundtrack. Like Heart's a Mess is in that fucking movie, and it's like beautiful song. He has another fucking banger on there. And so for me, it was never a case of, oh, he was a one-hit wonder and less. It's like, no. 2 great songs, and there's plenty more if you go down the iceberg.
Yeah.
I remember seeing like one of those like other songs from one-hit wonders, and people would use Gotye, and then they would only use the song from Making Mirrors. It's like, it's fuck off. Heart's a Mess. It was so popular in Australia. And it's just other countries just that's what's always pissed me off is it's just that refusal from people to actually do 5 seconds of research into Gotye. Because you will find one of the most incredible discographies from an artist you can get. I can't tell you you're gonna love every song, but it's at very phenomenal. Worst interesting.
Somebody that I used to know is one of YouTube's most viewed videos of all time, currently sitting at about 2.8 billion.
Yep.
I hope he fucking made a lot of money from that.
I'm sure he did.
I don't even think he cares, because he's actually like an let's see. Yeah, he chose not to allow online advertising on his music videos, including of that. So he's actually not gotten any money from it.
And I think he also allows free use in movies for his music too.
Yeah.
Considering he's somebody that is like, mixed and sampled.
Somebody that we used to know.
Stuff. I would not be surprised that he's open to also being used in other things.
Yeah. I hope he has a collection of weird instruments that he's figuring out how to use in his barn somewhere.
Yeah. I was always on the train that Gotye was good. His albums were great. And thinking he's a one-hit wonder was stupid.
Yes.
And this album alone has at least 5 or 6 other songs I can point to that are not somebody that I used to know and be like, no, fucking listen to this.
Yeah.
You listen to Easy Way Out. You listen to Eyes Wide Open. You listen to I Feel Better. You listen to State of the Art. You listen to Don't Worry We'll Be Watching. You listen to Bronte, and you tell me that this album is not fucking phenomenal and that he can actually write a lot of good songs.
Yeah.
It's like, I get wanting to do other stuff, and he has the basics. I get it. I wish there was more.
Well, there's been rumors of a fourth album for a while.
Yeah, but people have probably been creating those rumors for the sake of it for a while. The only person who actually knows that there's a fourth album is Gotye.
I think he said stuff on it, according to the Wikipedia page I read.
It said he most recently talked about it in June of 2018.
Yeah.
So, 6 years from then.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe some remix of Somebody That I Used to Know could be just making sure that they have all the Apple passwords right or something.
Could be.
Well, I think it's a Fisher remix.
Yeah.
At some point, we'll do the basics. I think we'll probably do Board Face before then.
Makes sense too.
Yeah.
So that everybody can finally get that more Gotye that they want. In fact, if you're listening to this and you said, "Oh, I really like Somebody That I Used to Know. I wonder what happened to Gotye, or I want more Gotye," there is approximately, let's see, there's roughly around 2.5 hours of Gotye that you could listen to outside of that one song. And the basics have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 albums, 5 EPs, 5 live albums, and 2 compilations.
Yeah.
They last released something in 2020.
2021.
2021, sorry. And their last official album was 2019. So it has been a while, but also it's a band that's been around since 2003. So,
Trix, you might appreciate this, because Gotye is also just Wally's Wikipedia page. He's listed as playing the Andio line.
That's what I was thinking about when I said weird musical instruments, because it's like a giant accordion or something like that, isn't it?
It's listed as an analog synthesizer.
Yes, it's sort of like a mellotron.
Yes. And if you look at the Wikipedia page, of course, Wally D. Backer is listed as an Andio line authority/historian. And then you click on his name and you're like, oh, that's just Gotye.
Yeah.
I wish I could be a noted historian on something very specific like that.
I kind of am. I know the most about a very, very obscure bass model produced by Kramer in the 80s.
Which one?
The Duke.
So you would call yourself a Duke expert?
I would call myself an expert in all things the Duke.
A Duke expert and historian. Now, something like that will be the name of this episode, I'm sure.
I was actually thinking, if you need album art, I can also fold up some origami.
Do it. Fuck it. Hell yeah.
All right. I'll pick up some Post-its after work tomorrow.
Fuck yeah. Anyway, album
favorites, least favorites?
Favorites, whole thing.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to agree. I'm going to stop comparing it to Drawing Blood for 2 seconds and realize that it is still a great album.
I think it drags a little bit around Giving Me a Chance and Save Me. Other than that, it's a fantastic album.
Yeah.
Rankings for the week. I'll start. Least favorite is going to probably be the. I'm just going to get the actual fucking titles up before I screw myself over. Yeah, least favorite's probably going to be Cry at Hours, then Doing the Most, then Do It By Enjoyment, I guess. I'll be realistic. I'll put in the Luca Brasi one after Doing the Most, and then the Origami Angel Broke Minecraft. As much as I do like that Luca Brasi, it is still just listening to an album for the sake of listening to it.
Sure.
I still like you though, Luca. Not much separating those two. Then it's going to be Brave Faces Everyone. Then it's going to be Making Mirrors.
I'm going to move Luca Brasi to the very lowest spot and then totally agree with your lineup.
Well, I don't want to be agreeing with somebody who does that.
Yeah, so my least favorite is going to be Luca Brasi. And then we're going to do Quiet Hours, then Doing the Most. And then Broke Minecraft, Brave Faces Everyone, and then at the top is Gotye.
Well, congratulations, Trix on a unanimous number 1.
It's been a while.
I mean,
your trophy will be in the mail.
You picked like a gimme album, if we're being honest.
I did. Occasionally, I'm tired of the number 3, then I just got to pick a gimme, you know. But don't you guys worry. I will be going deep into the number 3 categories next week.
I have requested to pick last, so you two can pick first.
Trix has to pick first at this point.
Okay, I can do that. I have 2 picks this week, actually. So one will be probably number 4. One of them might be unanimous number 1. Who knows? I figure I will start by saying that I've been teasing doing Ween. And so we're going to do Ween. We're going to do my favorite Ween album. We're going to do Shinola Volume 1.
Hell yeah. Gabrielle.
Yes. And then I teased that we would be doing an album that we have already covered, but just a different production of it. And that's right. We are going to be doing the Dan Auerbach production of The Growlers' Hung at Heart.
Where do you get this other version?
It's on YouTube.
All right, well,
okay.
I'm also picking 2 things, so guaranteed number 4 means I have to pick something worse. On that, I don't know how to properly segue this, so I'm just going to say the names, I guess. First one, 00_ and their EP Infinity. And then the second one, which I've been kind of saying I'm going to pick it. Rave Tapes have their debut album out.
And what is it called?
Okay.
Rave Tapes.
It's just called Rave Tapes again?
I don't think their first EP was called Rave Tapes.
There was a Rave Tapes EP.
It was self-titled. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, yeah, it's called Rave Tapes.
It is. Look at
Weirdly,
that.
I don't think
So
00_ is on YouTube Music.
Infinity.
So it's just 00_ Infinity.
Well,
Yes, I have the artist to 00_, but I only have Caliptra and Take All Your Things in a Porcelain Bag. I will check Bandcamp.
Yeah, well, All Your Things in a Porcelain Bag is that band.
Then
it's Caliptra, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not on there. It's on Bandcamp though. So
let me look if it's on Spotify. 00_ on Spotify.
Yeah, it's definitely on Spotify because
it's just not on YouTube Music. It might be a split artist thing. I'll look for it because sometimes like with smaller artists. Yeah, but there's no. I'm on the artist page themselves, and those are the only 2 things listed.
Interesting. Okay.
We'll find it. We'll find it later. Yeah. Anyway, Dominic, what have you picked?
All right. I had a few different options. I wanted to listen to what you all had to say and see what fit the best. And so, I think I found the right option.
What have we missed out on, huh?
What you've missed out on was continuing our Radiohead Muse stuff, which we'll do that soon anyway. I've also had an outsider pick with Schoolboy Q's new album Blue Lips. Instead, actually,
would have been an outside one.
What's that?
That would have been an outside one, yeah.
Ironically enough, the last time I did a little let's see who picks what option at the beginning of the year. We also picked the same artist that time too.
Huh.
We're doing the new Christian Con album, Everything I Love. But also, I've picked the Tiny Tim album, God Bless Tiny Tim.
Tiptoe through
And so there we are.
We should start a band, Trix.
We kind of already have.
We got an episode with Ween and Tiny Tim on it.
Indeed.
And with that brings us to 00_ Infinity EP and the self-titled album Rave Tapes by Rave Tapes. Trix has chosen Ween's Shinola Volume 1 and The Growlers Hung at Heart, the Dan Auerbach version. Meanwhile, I have chosen Christian Con's album Everything I Love and the Tiny Tim album God Bless Tiny Tim. That will do it For this week on Dissonant Waves, my name is Dominic. You can catch me online at DACICHOCKI on Twitter. Dominic Chakotay on YouTube if you must. I am also sometimes on the Games My Mom Found podcast. We just recorded an episode about Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance earlier today.
I have been Ritalin. You can catch me at wherever the links show below.
I have been Trix. You can catch me on Twitter and flinging shit across the floor.
And flinging shit we shall. Have a wonderful flinging shit night, everybody.